Hello, I'm Beth, and welcome back to Social Leopards. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about anxiety. Not the light passing kind that shows up before a presentation or when your phone battery flashes red, but the kind that lingers and whispers and sometimes might even shout. The kind that turns your mind into a 24-hour news channel that only reports bad weather. Last week, I talked a little about that voice we all carry called our inner critic. Well, some of us have this second voice tagging along, one that's constantly scanning for danger like a nervous meerkat. That's anxiety's voice. Let's explore how to acknowledge it, live with it, and on good days offer it a cup of tea instead of letting it drive the car. I want to start with a scene that's familiar, at least to me. Sometimes my brain is on overdrive. I'm sitting at work, I'm halfway through a pile of emails when my brain suddenly decides to remind me of every unfinished task I have ever started, plus a few I haven't even thought about for months. Within seconds, my thoughts are racing faster than my internet connection, and I'm caught in that familiar paralysis. My heart's pounding, my breath starts to feel a little more shallow, and that cursor is blinking at me pretty accusingly. Another example is at bedtime. I've got the lights down, I've got myself all situated in bed, and my mind, as helpful as ever, starts replaying some meeting from earlier that day in full detail. Only this time, it's rewriting every sentence the way that now, all of a sudden, my brain thinks I should have said it. If those examples sound familiar to you, congratulations, you're officially human. I sometimes joke that my brain's idea of a bedtime story is anxiety, the director's cut. It's those moments when I reach for one of my fall asleep strategies. Cognitive shuffling, for example, is one of my favorites. It's a little mental trick from an earlier episode, and it helps me switch off the anxious chatter. And yes, it actually works. But anxiety doesn't just haunt our nights. It sneaks into our days, too. It's subtle and it's persistent and it's always inconvenient. It's kind of like that one coworker who pops into your office or sends you that urgent text right as you're ready to leave for lunch or leave for the day. Some people don't call it anxiety, though. They say things like, I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I feel a lot of tension today, or I'm getting stressed out. However you label it, the truth is it's a very human, very common experience. Let's get a little nerdy for a moment. Anxiety isn't a character flaw, it's actually biology. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors needed anxiety. It kept them alive. When a tiger lurked nearby, that rush of adrenaline and cortisol told them to run, told them to hide, told them to fight. Their brains shouted, "Move or your dinner." Fast forward to today, and now that tiger looks more like an inbox full of urgent messages or an unexpected calendar invite from your boss. The stakes are lower, but the brain doesn't know that. It's still reacting as if the danger is just beyond the bushes. So when your stomach flips before a meeting or your heart races while reading the email that is starting to stress you out, it's not you just being irrational. It's your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's just that your ancient wiring hasn't received the update that performance review doesn't equal predator attack. Understanding that really helped me to become more gentle with myself. Anxiety isn't the enemy. It's an overprotective bodyguard who never got the memo that the threats have changed. So when your anxiety starts taking the wheel, the simplest way to interrupt it is through breathing. Right now, if you're in a place where it's safe to follow along, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it and let it out slowly through your mouth. As you exhale, imagine your shoulders softening, your jaw releasing if it's feeling a little bit clenched, your body sending a little signal up to your brain saying, "We're okay, no tigers here." Breathing like this sounds simple, and it is, but it's also powerful. You can also Google box breathing, and that's another version of deep breathing that's really, really helpful and tried and true. Deep, intentional breathing activates the body's relaxation response, shifting you out of fight or flight mode. It's your body's built-in manual override. Even a few slow breaths can remind your brain that you're safe in this moment. Another gentle friend to bring along who can be there when anxiety is pinging is mindfulness. but not in the Instagram reel kind of way. You don't have to sit on a cushion. You don't have to chant to practice mindfulness. It can be as ordinary as noticing how the warm mug feels in your hands, how the footsteps while you're walking sound on the sidewalk, how the sunlight looks today, how the breeze is going through the trees, all of those things. When my thoughts start racing, I'll start to look at something ordinary nearby sometimes. I'll look at a lamp or a plant or the slow swirl of steam from my coffee mug, and I let my attention rest there. For 30 seconds, that's all I ask of myself. Mindfulness doesn't erase anxiety, but it helps me make space for it. It's like telling my thoughts, you can stay, but please take a seat. Now, when anxious energy builds up, it has to go somewhere. That's where movement helps, any movement. Movement is like exercise in this scenario. It doesn't have to be a workout. Sometimes I just stand up, take a few stretches, I sway side to side like a slightly awkward tree in the breeze. I let my arms swing loose in semicircles, almost kind of half hugging myself as they move. When the weather cooperates, I also tend to enjoy a brief walk just down to the end of my section of the neighborhood and back. Or I check out a few of the Tai Chi exercises I've bookmarked on my browser. There's something magical about giving the body a chance to move through the feelings that my mind can't quite process, or maybe it's just that my mind's not ready to process those thoughts. Motion helps emotion find its way out. And then there's my favorite strategy, talking it out. Sometimes I call a friend or, bless his heart, talk to my husband. I'll unload whatever's weighing on me, the worry I can't quite shake or the story my brain keeps replaying. When my mom was alive, she was my go-to for those talks. She had this rare gift of listening without immediately offering solutions, at least most of the time. I'd call just to hear her voice and vent about my day. And sometimes it even helped for me to let her vent about her day. Every so often, she'd throw in advice that I didn't agree with, but somehow that was part of the ritual too. I realized later that those calls weren't actually about solving anything. They were about being seen and heard. And I think at the end of the day, most of us are looking for just that, just saying things out loud, hearing things out loud, with someone who holds space for you. I still miss having my mom as that go-to person who could help me lighten that load. If you don't have someone to talk to in the moment, writing it down can help. Journaling is something that gives your thoughts somewhere else to live besides your brain. It's less about making sense of them and more about letting them breathe. I've got to spend a moment talking about those moments when the what-ifs start parading through our minds. It's like a favorite game for the anxious mind. What if you forgot something important? What if you said the wrong thing? What if your boss thinks the tone of your last email was passive-aggressive? When my mind starts spiraling through the what-ifs, I try to pause and remind myself that most of them never actually happen. And the few that do, well, I've survived every one of those as well. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, you have also survived every last anxious moment from birth to right now. So let's take another deep breath and congratulate ourselves for the knowledge that we're still here. Anxiety loves certainty. It wants guarantees before it relaxes. But life doesn't come with those, so instead, I try to practice trust. I trust that I'll handle whatever comes. I trust that I've made it through the hard days before, and I'm going to do it again. It's not easy, but it's a quieter kind of strength, the kind that grows in the middle of uncertainty. There's something a little bit illogical about anxiety because it actually shows up when we care. We feel anxious because we want things to go well. We want to belong, to succeed, to be safe, to be loved. The presence of anxiety means you're invested in life. It's proof of your sensitivity, not a sign of weakness. I think about this a lot during those nights when sleep feels like it's never going to come. Sometimes I'll lie there and remember that my brain's only job is to protect me, even if it's doing that job a little too enthusiastically. So instead of trying to defeat anxiety, I try to befriend it. I thank it for caring so much. Then gently, I try to tell it, you can rest now. I've got this. And on the best nights, it listens. So before I wrap up, let's collectively remind ourselves of this truth. Anxiety can make you feel like you're standing in a storm without an umbrella. But even then, you are still standing. You've made it through every anxious moment you've ever had. That's not a small thing. That's resilience in motion. So tonight or tomorrow morning, when the worries start whispering again, try one small act of defiance. Breathe deeply, move gently, reach out if you need to, and remind yourself, you are already safe. Coping with anxiety isn't about being fearless. It's about being brave enough to keep going, even when your mind tries to convince you otherwise. Thanks for listening to my thoughts today. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you subscribe, share with a friend, drop a comment, or just take a moment to breathe a little deeper right where you are. Until next time, be kind to your mind and take care.